Act 1. Welcome to Lumina Isles. The turquoise waters around Seychelles shimmered as if sprinkled with liquid light. Bioluminescent coral reefs illuminated the shores, and floating schools drifted lazily in the calm lagoons, their crystalline walls sparkling in the sunlight. Zipping along the water on manta-shaped scooters were Nyota, a 12-year-old with boundless energy, and Kazi, her equally adventurous best friend. "Race you to the Glow Arch," Nyota shouted, revving her scooter's solar engine. "You're on," Kazi replied, leaning into the wind. The pair sped toward the shimmering coral arch, leaving trails of light in their wake. But just as Nyota surged ahead, a cranky sea turtle named Mr. Lumbo floated into her path, scowling. Nyota swerved just in time. "Watch it, kids," Mr. Lumbo grumbled, flapping his flippers. "This isn't a racetrack." Nyota grinned. "Sorry, Mr. Lumbo, didn't see you there. Too busy winning." Kazi chuckled. Winning? More like almost crashing. The trio reached the glow arch, but Nyota's smile faded as she noticed something unusual. A section of the coral's radiant light had dimmed, casting a shadow over the water. "That's not normal," she said, her brows furrowing. "The SeaGlow shouldn't fade like this." Act 2. The Coral Crisis. Nyota and Kazi hurried to Nyota's family's SeaGlow maintenance station. Her older sister Zuri was already examining the dimming coral on a holographic map. "It's not just here," Zuri said, pointing to multiple dark patches. "The problem is spreading." The usually bustling floating market felt subdued, with vendors resorting to lanterns instead of the usual coral glow. A fisherman grumbled, "How am I supposed to sell fresh fish in this gloom? They look like old boots in this light." Nyota decided to take action. "We need to find out what's causing this. Kazi, grab your gear. Mr. Lumbo, you're coming with us." The sea turtle scoffed. "Oh joy, nothing I love more than babysitting reckless kids." Act 3. Into the depths. Diving into the glowing waters, the trio encountered a mesmerizing underwater world. Schools of luminous fish darted among the coral, while jellyfish floated like tiny moons. Nyota's clumsiness provided plenty of laughs. She managed to get tangled in seaweed, stepped on a crab, which angrily pinched her fin, and accidentally sprayed herself with her own oxygen tank. Mr. Lumbo shook his head. "At this rate, the coral will save itself before you do." Deeper in the reef they found the culprit, invasive sea urchins, nicknamed Glow Gobblers, munching on the coral. One particularly bold urchin climbed onto Mr. Lumbo's shell, turning him into a glowing disco ball. "Great," Mr. Lumbo muttered. "Now I'm a walking party favor." Nyota came up with a plan. "We'll trap them and relocate them away from the reef. Kazi, can you build something?" Kazi nodded. "Give me some scraps and I'll make the best Glow Gobbler trap this side of the Indian Ocean." Act 4. Glow Gobbler Chaos. Using discarded materials from the floating market, Kazi built jellyfish-shaped traps designed to lure the urchins. The traps worked at first, but the mischievous Glow Gobblers escaped, wreaking havoc on the reef. One urchin attached itself to a passing manta ray, which flapped wildly, sending Nyota and Kazi into a fit of giggles. Another sneaked into Mr. Lumbo's seaweed snack bag. "That's it," Mr. Lumbo snapped. "These Glow Gobblers are officially on my enemies list." Amid the chaos, Nyota realized the traps needed reinforcement. "We'll need the whole community to help," she said. "This isn't a one-diver job." Nyota and Kazi rallied the village. Fishermen, market vendors, and even children pitched in, weaving stronger nets and crafting better traps. Zuri developed a natural repellent made from local sea plants to keep the glow gobblers away from the coral. Elder Bahati shared traditional fishing techniques that inspired new trap designs. Our ancestors didn't have fancy gadgets, she said, but they knew how to outsmart the ocean's trickiest creatures. The traps were redeployed, and this time they worked perfectly. The glow gobblers were safely relocated to an area where they couldn't harm the coral. With the invasive species gone, the coral began to recover. The SeaGlow network lit up once more, casting its magical light over the islands. The floating market bustled with energy, and fishermen proudly displayed their glowing catches. The community held a celebration, complete with music, dancing, and glowing decorations. Mr. Lumbo, reluctantly adorned with a flower crown, grumbled, "I'd better get extra seaweed for this." Nyota laughed. "Don't worry, Mr. Lumbo. You're the star of the show." Nyota's story inspired a wave of innovation across Seychelles. Schools introduced coral conservation programs, and children built miniature glow gobbler traps as science projects. The SeaGlow technology was adapted for other coastal regions, making Seychelles a global leader in marine innovation. One evening, as Nyota and Kazi rode their manta scooters home, Mr. Lumbo swam alongside them. "You kids saved the reef," he said. "Maybe you're not so reckless after all." Nyota grinned. "High praise coming from you, Mr. Lumbo." The moon rose over the Lumina Isles, its glow blending with the radiant coral. The SeaGlow reef pulsed gently, a reminder of what could be achieved when a community united to protect its home. Nyota looked out over the water and whispered, "This is our light and we'll keep it shining."